Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Westminster's Mayor and Common Council. Council meets here in historic City Hall on the second and fourth Mondays of every month. Please note that council meetings are open to the public here at City Hall and are also available streamed live at the city's YouTube page, as well as the Community Media Center channel and website. And as a courtesy to everyone, please take a moment and silence your cell phones so that they don't interrupt us during the meeting. Now, we'll begin this evening's meeting as we do every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Copies of tonight's agenda and entire information packet that the council will be using this evening are available online and on the city's website. Copies of the agenda are available here in the front of the room, although I know Doug typically gives them out there when he comes in. Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and get moving on to our first order of business, our special guests. We have a representative from McDaniel this evening. Julie Fisher. Julie, I'm not sure what your title is, so I apologize. I don't have
It's okay. I'm the controller, treasurer.
Okay. Well, we're fortunate to have a great relationship with McDaniel, and they send a representative to virtually every meeting that we have to give us a little update of what's going on in the Hills. It's a very critical relationship, so we appreciate you coming and let us know what you have going on.
So this Wednesday at the auditorium at Carroll Hospital, there'll be an information session announcement about the partnership between McDaniel and LifeBridge and Carroll Hospital about the new Bachelor of Science nursing program. That's on Wednesday. And then this weekend is homecoming. So they start off Friday night with the Hall of Fame dinner. And then games on Saturday at 1. Football's at 1. And then they're playing their sinus, and field hockey is at 6 against Bryn Mawr.
Julie, if you could take something back to the leadership there. For me, the event that they have for the Halloween event for all the athletes that they put on at the field there for all the kids, it's amazing. It's wonderful. I mean, and it's grown. I couldn't believe how many kids were out there last week.
Yeah, I think this may have been the third year.
Third or fourth, yeah. But it's really, I mean, they do a wonderful job. And you know, let your AD and all the coaches know how great that is and how much the community appreciates it. Okay, we'll move on to minutes. We have one set of minutes to consider for tonight's meeting. Can I have that would be the minutes of October 14th meeting. Thank you. Appreciate that. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 14th meeting, please?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion for the approval of the October 14th.
Thanks, Councilman Huff. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councilman Day Huff with the second. I have a motion and a second. Is any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Councilman Pecoraro, are you voting on that? Okay, we'll go ahead and just take the 3 ayes that we have. All right, we'll move on to the consent. Yeah, that is approved, by the way. We'll move on to the consent calendar. We have 5 items on the consent calendar this evening. I have a motion to approve the consent calendar, please.
Motion to approve the consent.
Councilwoman Gilbert with the motion, Councilman
I'll second.
with the second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion related to the consent calendar? Councilman Pecoraro, if you're going to vote on this one, go ahead and sound off. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. I have 3 ayes, Councilman Pecoraro?
Thank you.
No, I guess not. So we'll go ahead with the ayes. It's passed regardless. And we have no nays, so that is approved. We'll go on to reports from committees. I'm assuming the mayor's not with us, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go right to reports from committees. Arts Council, Mr. Dayhuff.
No report this evening.
Thank you very much. Economic and Community Development, Mr. Huff.
No report.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Councilman Pecoraro. He's quiet tonight. And we'll go right through Personnel Committee. And there's going to be no report there, right, Mr. Pecoraro? No, there's not. Okay, Public Safety Committee. I do have a brief report. I need to get that up in front of me. Several Westminster Police Department supervisors attended the supervision and leadership training courses this past week. Lieutenant Arnold, Lieutenant Reif, and Sergeant Brian Huff attended the Maryland Police and Correctional Training Commission's course regarding best practices of navigating the common challenges of working with their officers. Deputy Chief Price and Captain Jeff Schuster attended the Operational Century Conference, which facilitates the real-time exchange of critical intelligence among local, state, and law enforcement agencies. So that is the extent of my report. We'll move on to Public Works. Ms. Gilbert.
It's a short report tonight. Public Works Department, along with their normal duties, have been busy preparing for they were busy preparing for the Halloween event that was last Saturday. But also the Veterans Day Parade that's coming up. They set up, executed, and cleaned up from the oyster stroll, and now they're getting ready to prepare for the Miracle on Main Street.
Thank you very much. Recreation and Parks, Councilwoman Gilbert.
Go right on into that, and Recreation and Parks Department had a very successful, and it was a beautiful Saturday for the event on October 26th from 3 to 6. It was a kid-friendly, family-friendly event. There were tons of ghosts walking around Main Street along with little cats and all kinds of critters and all kinds of costumes. They were trick-or-treating up and down Main Street. Local businesses, Halloween-themed games and crafts, face painting, balloon sculptures, cider, donuts, roving entertainment, and a lively kids concert by Mr. John, which was all over Facebook. And I think every child that visited downtown enjoyed that. So fun was had by all at the great event, which was followed by even more entertainment on Main Street, because I drove through Main Street, I think it was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I'm looking at all these people still in costumes. So Main Street was just roving with entertainment.
Yeah, they had the bar crawl that evening.
Yes, the bar
That's
crawl
right,
was
yeah.
Saturday night, yes.
Not to be confused with the Mrs. Roper crawl, which
Yes.
is earlier in the month.
No, not to be confused, but it would have probably been a good thing.
Exactly.
It was a good follow-up. But that's all I have for Parks and Rec.
Thank you very much. Technology Committee, Mr. Dayhoff.
No report.
Outstanding. We'll move on to council comments and discussion. Does anyone have any council comments and discussion? I'll start with Mr. Dayhoff. Anything?
Just one thing, we're moving along with, Shepherd staff, which we're really excited about. They're really going to bring forward a great infrastructure improvement to the community. There's an open house, at Shepherd staff, on Friday, November the 1st. From 3 to 6 p.m. And that's in anticipation of removing that structure that's currently at Carroll Street and moving forward with replacing it with a wonderful structure. I think that'll be a great infrastructure improvement for the community. And
Great.
that's my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dayhoff. Ms. Gilbert.
I have nothing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Huff.
I have nothing tonight either.
Mr. Pecoraro, are you with us and do you have anything? He is not. And I have nothing, so we'll move right on to bids. We have 4 bids this evening. We'll take them in order. The first one is the award of a bid award of Universal Utilities, Inc. in the amount of $218,000 for the replacement of the emergency diesel generator and installation of new life and safety transfer switch for the Westminster Police Department. Public Director Summerhill.
Thank you. The background on this is the city's adopted fiscal year 25 capital budget allocates funding for a 200 kilowatt emergency diesel generator replacement and a life and safety transfer switch to be installed at the Westminster Police Department. The current 50 kW diesel generator only supplies power to the dispatch area and minimal safety lighting in the building. The new 200 kW diesel generator will be able to power the entire police department. Life and safety transfer switch allows for uninterrupted power with extremely fast transfer time and has redundancy installed, i.e. duplicate relays, so that it is guaranteed to transfer power in the event of a power failure. The project was advertised on Emma with a pre-bid meeting and bid due dates of August 27, 2024 and September 18th, 2024, respectively. 3 bids were received. Below is a summary of the 3 bids received. City staff has reviewed and evaluated the bids and has determined the bid from Universal Utilities Incorporated in the total amount of $218,000 to be acceptable with regards to the city's needs. The fiscal year 25 capital budget for this project is $308,000. Staff recommends Mayor and Common Council award the bid to Universal Utilities in the amount of $218,000 for the replacement of the emergency diesel generator and installation of new life and safety transfer switch at the Westminster Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to award the bid to Universal Utilities in the amount of $218,000, please?
Mr. President, I will make that motion.
So we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Gilbert with the second. Is there any discussion related to this bid? Will say I'm glad to see that it's a diesel generator. I know you weren't here for that discussion. I don't think Mr. Summerhill about a year ago, but that makes me happy.
It came under budget too.
And it came in under budget. That makes me even happier.
Yeah.
All right. So any other discussion? We'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of awarding the bid to Universal Utilities, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it, and the bid is awarded. Mr. Summerhill, go ahead and get that generator, please. Okay, next up is the award of a bid for ECM Corporation in the total amount of $41,800 for valve nut and bolt replacement. Mr. Summerhill.
Thank you. So the background is certain water distribution system valves installed in the late 1990s through 2007 have been found to have substandard bonnet bolt materials. The city's distribution system contains quite a number of valves that fit the substandard criteria. Fiscal year 25 is the 3rd year of the project and is currently scheduled to continue on an annual basis. The fiscal year 25 capital budget allocates $50,000 for replacement of the aforementioned substandard bolts. The project was advertised on EMA with a pre-bid meeting and bid due dates of September 10th, 2024 and October 1st, 2024, respectively. Below is a summary of the 2 bids received. The city staff has reviewed and evaluated references and the proposal from ECM Corporation in the total amount of $41,800 finds it to be acceptable with regards to the city needs. Fiscal year capital budget funding for this project was $50,000. The staff recommends that the Mayor and Common Council award the bid to ECM Corporation in total amount of $41,800 for valve, nut, and bolt replacement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I have a motion to award the bid to ECM Corporation for $41,800?
Motion to award the bid.
Councilwoman Gilbert with the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Dayhoff with the second. Do we have any discussion? I have one question. Is there any opportunity for us to go back to the manufacturer of the defective bolts and try to recoup any of this cost?
We can certainly look into that. We don't
It
have that information right now for you.
Seems like it would be, I mean, I don't know, a nut seems like it should last a lot more than 15 years. All right, I don't think that has anything to do with us approving this. We got to do it regardless, but I figured I'd at least ask the question. Okay, let's go ahead and call the question. All those in favor of awarding the bid to ECM Corporation, please signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. Any nays? The ayes have it, and the bid is awarded. Mr. Summerhill, you are spending some money there, so have at it. Okay, the next one is the award of the bid of Frederick Ward Associates in the amount of $556,000 for trail design and engineering services for Wakefield Valley Park. Ms. Gruber.
Thank you. Good evening. Wakefield Valley Park's trail design and engineering services are funded in the fiscal year 25 capital projects fund. This projected expenditure will also serve as the required match for the $1.5 million recreational trails program grant, which will provide funding for renovating and constructing the trail system at Wakefield Valley Park, and will also support further trail construction, which will be accomplished through a $500,000 grant awarded through the Land and Water Conservation Fund. The city issued the request for proposals for this project on August 8th. On September 5th, 2024, proposals were received from 7 engineering firms with prices ranging from $150,800 to $1,080,975. City staff reviewed the proposals and narrowed the RFPs to 4 firms. Apex, the lowest cost submission, was eliminated from the interview pool because their proposal indicated they didn't desire to engage locally and that its deliverables would be accomplished virtually. 3 firms, Buchart Horn Incorporated, A. Morton Thomas and Associates Incorporated, and Frederick Ward Associates were invited back for follow-up interviews on October 2nd and 3rd. During the interview process, A. Morton Thomas and Associates Incorporated were eliminated because of the concerning additional cost presented as ad alternates in their RFP. When questioned for clarification on these extra costs, it became clear that these costs presented as optional services by A. Morton Thomas were necessary to the success of the project and were included in the base bid from other respondents. These ad alternate costs would have increased the base bid of $551,039 by $253,135. Buchart Horn Incorporated, although less expensive, did not demonstrate as much experience with recreational trails program projects and funding. At the conclusion of the interviews, one firm stood out as having the most comprehensive understanding of the project that closely aligned with the city's goals and objectives. Frederick Ward Associates outperformed all others with a demonstrated track record of successful projects completed using recreational trails program funding. The firm's proposal thoroughly understood the project and desired deliverables, emphasizing cost containment and value engineering. Staff contacted references that indicated Frederick Ward Associates has valuable experience in trail design and engineering services and is more than capable of delivering an innovative approach to trail design. Therefore, the lowest, most responsive and responsible proposal was received from Frederick Ward Associates from Bel Air, Maryland. Staff recommends awarding Frederick Ward Associates a contract for $556,650 for trail design and engineering services for Wakefield Valley Park.
Thank you, Mr. River. May I have a motion for the award of the bid to Frederick Ward Associates in the amount of $556,650?
Make a motion to award the bid to.
Councilwoman Gilbert with the motion. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councilman Dayhoff with the second. Is there any discussion?
I have one question.
Councilman Hunt.
Mr. Gruber, so this is gonna serve as a match, but it's not a one-for-one match, I guess, is that correct? Because the money that we're getting through the 1.5 million, so we only needed to spend 500,000?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. So that will serve as the full match for that 1.5 million that we're getting. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Any other discussion related to this topic? I'll just comment that, it's a very small difference between this and the other one that you felt like these were stronger than. I think it's a small enough differential. It makes a lot of sense. You pick the one you feel is going to do the best job for a very small amount relative to the total amount of the project. So nice work, Ms. Gruber. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor of awarding the bid to Frederick Ward and Associates, please signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Any nays? The ayes have it, and the bid is awarded, Ms. Gruber. Go get those trails going. Okay, finally, we have an award of bid to Mid-Atlantic Marketing Inc. in the Mid-Atlantic Marking Inc. in the amount of $61,294 for the annual road striping contract. Director of Public Works, Summerhill.
Thank you. So the background on this is the fiscal year 25 general fund budget includes funding for annual road striping, which is the refreshing of double yellow lines, solid white lines, and broken white lines on all city streets. City issued a request for bids on September 3rd 2024, with bids due on October 8th, 2024. Bidders were requested to provide pricing for the fiscal year 25 annual road striping contract. The city received one bid for this project. City staff has evaluated references and pricing from the sole bidder, Mid-Atlantic Marking Incorporated, and finds them a suitable contractor for the project. Work under the contract shall begin in fiscal year 25 and be completed by June 30, 2025. The fiscal year 25 budget proposal for the general fund includes an allocation of $45,000 for annual road striping. A budget amendment will be needed to increase the street markings budgeted amount by $16,294 to cover the entire cost of the project. Staff recommends that Mayor and Common Council award the bid to Mid-Atlantic Marking Incorporated in the amount of $61,294 for annual road striping. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Summerhill. May I have a motion to award the bid to Mid-Atlantic Marking?
Motion to approve.
Councilman Dayhuff,
I'll second.
Councilman Huff with the second. Thank you. Is there any discussion related to this item? I've got two quick things then. Are we safe budget-wise? We'll be able to pull the difference. It's not that much, but
We're indicating that we're gonna need a budget amendment. So we've got, the next time we come up for a budget amendment, we'll add 16,000 from the general fund. Difference.
okay. And we have that to pull out of the general fund.
We
It
do.
shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Then lastly, it's important that we do the striping because it just looks good. It helps traffic control. But what I'm learning, my wife has a self-driving vehicle, and when the markings aren't clear, it gets a little agitated in terms of kind of like what it's doing and stuff. So and it's because it uses cameras to monitor those lines, and when they're not bright, it gets worked up. So it's good we're doing this as more and more self-driving cars are out there. So I think it's going to become more important as time goes on that we keep these things bright. So to that, we'll go ahead and call the question. Do I have all in favor of awarding the bid to Mid-Atlantic Marking, Inc. in the amount of $61,294? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it, and the bid is awarded. Okay, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. We have two resolutions before us this evening for adoption. First one is introduction of annexation resolution 24-11, annexation number 83, Optimum Properties LLC, petition of annexation to enlarge the corporate boundaries of the city of Westminster by annexing into the city certain properties containing 3.572 acres contiguous to and adjoining the city's existing corporate boundaries, consisting of real property identified as tax account number 07-001223, map 0046, grid 021, parcel 0033, Director of Planning and Development Depot.
Thank you and good evening. The petitioner, again, Optimum Properties LLC, is seeking to annex the annexation of property containing approximately 3.572 acres into the corporate boundaries of the city. The city has verified the signatures on the petition in accordance with state law. The petitioner's annexation request is being made in coordination with a petition by Ellen Grant and Tyler Potapan for annexation of another nearby parcel, which is subject of annexation resolution 2413, annexation 85, the next item on the agenda. The annexation area is zoned R20,000 residence district under the zoning laws of Carroll County. The petitioner is requesting that the property be zoned R10,000 residential zone under the city zoning ordinance. The petition has included a zoning waiver with its petition for approval by the Board of County Commissioners. The petitioner is proposing to subdivide the vacant property into approximately 4 to 7 residential lots. The subdivision of the property will require new water and sewer allocation. The annexation petition submitted by the petitioner meets the requirements of annexation under state law. The petition has been signed by the owners of 100% of the assessed valuation of the real property in the annexation area, and there are no persons residing within the annexation area. The property is contiguous to and adjoining the existing boundaries of the city. An annexation of the property will not create an enclave or unincorporated land within the city boundaries. It should be noted that the second whereas paragraph on page 1 of the resolution 2411 reads by virtue of 2 deeds dated, and it should state by virtue of a deed dated. So that correction would need to be made. So with that, staff recommends that the mayor and common council introduce resolution 2411 as amended for annexation, allowing the annexation process to begin. And that completes my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Depot. Let's go ahead and get it on the table. I have a motion to adopt resolution number 24-11 as amended.
Mr. President, I will make a motion to introduce annexation resolution number 2411 as amended.
This is for introduction, isn't it?
Yes.
I apologize. I had
Introduction.
adoption written down there. Thank you for correcting me, Councilman Huff. She's keeping me straight. Okay, so we have a motion to introduce the resolution. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Councilwoman Gilbert with the second. Is there any discussion related to 2411?
I just wanted to mention for our colleagues, this is a project that I think we've talked about in the ECDC maybe more than once over the past year. So just to let our colleagues know that this is not the first time some of us have seen this. And obviously, when they go through the process, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Depot, it'll go to Planning and Zoning Commission, go through the process and all of that when they come forward with some sort of plan.
Yes, a preliminary subdivision plan followed by record plats would be before the
It'll
planning and zoning
all go
commission.
through the process as it's going along.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Huff. Anyone else have anything? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of introducing resolution 24-11 as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. I'm sorry, are there any nays? The ayes have it, and the resolution is introduced. We'll move on to the introduction of annex resolution number 24-13, annexation number 85. Ellen Podopam, am I saying that right? Petition for annexation to enlarge the corporate boundaries of the city of Westminster by annexing into the city certain properties containing 5.47 acres, contiguous and adjoining the city's existing corporate boundaries, consisting of real property identified as tax account number 0743089, map 0046, grid 0021, parcel 1648, Director of Community Planning and Development.
Thank you. The petitioners, Ellen, Grant, and Tyler Podopam, again, I'm hoping I'm saying that's correctly as well, seek the annexation of property containing approximately 5.47 acres. The city has verified the signatures of the petition in accordance with state law. The petitioner's annexation request is being made in coordination with the petition by Optimum Properties LLC for annexation of another nearby parcel through annexation resolution 2411, annexation 83, which the Mayor and Common Council just introduced. The annexation area is zoned R20,000 residence district under the zoning laws of Carroll County. The petitioners are requesting that the property be zoned R10,000 residential zone under the city zoning ordinance. The petitioners have included the zoning waiver with their petition for approval by the Board of County Commissioners. The petitioner is proposing to subdivide the vacant property into approximately 11 to 15 residential lots. The subdivision of the property will require new water and sewer allocation. The annexation petition submitted by the petitioner meets the requirements for annexation under state law. The petition has been signed by the owners of 100% of the assessed valuation of the real property in the annexation area, and there are no persons residing within the annexation area. The property is contiguous to and adjoining the existing boundaries of the city. Annexation of the property will not create an enclave of unincorporated land within the city boundaries. Now, again, it should be noted equally that the second whereas paragraph in page 1 of the resolution 2413 reads by virtue of 2 deeds dated and should state by virtue of a deed dated. With that, staff recommends that the Mayor and Common Council introduce resolution 2413 as amended for annexation, allowing the annexation process to begin. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Depot. Let's go ahead and get it on the table. May I have a motion to introduce resolution 24-13 as amended?
I will make a motion to introduce annexation resolution 2413 as amended.
Thank you, Councilman Huff. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
Councilman Day Huff with the second. That way you taking the second there, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, any discussion related to this motion?
I do have a question, Mr. Depot. It seems like these are running concurrently, but theoretically, do they have to run concurrently or not?
They're owned by separate entities and they aren't adjacent to one another. Actually, the petition submitted does initially requested annexation of both together, but we did split them to be separate. But again, they are nearby each other. They just aren't adjoining one another.
No, I mean, like in theory, if one wanted to move forward with one project, there are two different projects.
Exactly, and two different entities owning them.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? No. Anyone else have any other discussion related to the motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of introduction of resolution 24-13, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it, and the resolution is introduced. Moving on to unfinished business, I don't believe we have any unfinished business that I'm aware of. Does anyone know of any unfinished business? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. I have no new business on the agenda. Is there any new business that anyone has? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to operating reports. Ms. Ingalls.
Thank you, sir. We'll start off with the Recreation and Parks Department. Ms. Gruber.
Good evening. Along with the award of our trail design and engineering contract, we are progressing with other infrastructure improvements at Wakefield Valley Park. If anybody's been out there recently, they will notice that work is progressing on both the modern day clubhouse renovation and also our restoration of the historic Durbin House. We are thrilled to see the modern clubhouse renovation taking shape. Windows are being installed, and the pavilion that will be on a portion of the building is now looking like a pavilion. Exterior walls have been removed, and so those that are enjoying the park can actually get a sense of what that will look like in more of a finished form. The Durbin House also has taken on quite aggressive renovation, and we are now seeing that the exterior stucco has been repaired and all of the windows have been lovingly restored and painted, which is a huge step for that house because most of them were busted out by acts of vandalism, and so the house sat with plywood over those windows for a very long period of time. So it is really great to see life be coming back into both of those facilities. And of course, we thank you for your continued support as work does progress out there. That concludes my report, unless you have questions.
Mr. President, I have one question. Given the extent of our renovations out there, is there a plan for cameras or any such thought to deter future vandalism or possibility of vandalism? I'm just asking.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, quick answer. Anything else? Okay, keep moving forward, Ms. Ingalls.
Thank you. Hearing no further questions, Ms. Gruber, thank you for your hard work on the event this weekend and on those projects out at Wakefield. We will move on to the Public Works Department. Mr. Summerhill.
Thank you, Ms. Ingalls. We had personnel helping out with the Halloween Spooky Saturday, last Saturday. And we had personnel help with work at the police department. We had some painting done and a monitor screen was installed. Is that correct?
Monitor screen was installed a little while ago, but it's going to be a monitor installed in the conference room.
Thank you. Yep. And that's all I have.
Are there any questions for the Public Works Director? Hearing none.
Design services by Public Works.
Yes.
Home decorating.
You're doing a good job.
Okay, cool.
HDPD.
Cool.
All right, here now we'll move on to the IT department. Mr. Moore,
This is usual for us. I don't have any special report tonight, but I have other questions.
are there any questions for Mr. Moore?
Always good when business as usual in IT.
Hearing now we'll move on to the planning department. Mr. Depot.
Thank you. On October 17th, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing for zonal map amendment ZMA 2401 for the Willows project. This is the 42/2 market rate rental units. located northeast of Pennsylvania Avenue and Sullivan Road. And they left the record open until 4:30 PM on October 31st and voted to forward the ZMA 2401 to a future work session. In addition, the Planning Commission did hold a work session on local map amendment LMA 2402 for A1 urban living condominiums. This is the 4-story, 64 market rate condominiums along Green Street, and they forward that to another work session. On November 5th, the Board of Zoning Appeals is scheduled to hear a BZA case 2405. This is an appeal to the zoning administrator's June 11th, 2024 zoning determination regarding sections 164.3 and 164.45.8 of the zoning ordinance for the property located at 301 East Main Street in the city of Westminster. And finally, on November 6th, the Historic District Commission is scheduled to hear a post-construction historic tax credit application for 12 Anchor Street, where both the roof and gutters were replaced in kind. And that completes my report. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Depot? Hearing none, we will move on to the Housing Department. Mr. Brown,
I have nothing to report this time.
nothing to report. Any questions for Mr. Brown? Ms. Rogers for the Finance Department is off today. Are there any questions that I can answer for you for the Finance Department? Hearing none, we will wrap up with the Police Department as we always do. Chief Ledbetter.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. I just wanted to highlight two recent criminal investigations that the police department conducted. One involving, we had an attempted robbery at the Carroll Fuel March back on the 18th of this month. No weapons were displayed, but they pinned the clerk behind the counter and made threats. They ended up fleeing when the clerk indicated that he recognized one of the suspects as a prior customer. So they didn't get anything, but our detectives were able to identify both of the suspects through some pretty good investigative techniques. And were able to obtain probable cause to get arrest warrants. They were subsequently stopped in a stolen vehicle in Anne Arundel County and arrested over the weekend. Our detective went down to the detention center this morning and obtained admission statements from both of them. So we've wrapped up and charged that crime. Second, we had a pretty significant assault between known acquaintances that occurred a few days ago. Our patrol division was able to quickly identify both the suspects and were able to use good investigative techniques to locate them at a residence outside the city on Little Scout Pike. Found them in the vehicle that they fled in and found the weapon that they used for the assault. So they were both charged with reckless endangerment, first and second degree assault, and are currently being held in the detention center. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Are there questions for the chief?
Work, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, that concludes the departmental reports.
Thank you, Ms. Imholz. The final item on our agenda this evening is citizens' comments, where we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues that pertain to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. For citizens not attending the public meeting, we invite you to send us your comments or concerns via email to comments@westminstermd.gov. All comments received by email will be shared with the mayor and council. Commenters should include their address and phone number with their comments. We will now invite comments from anyone who is present this evening. This is an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts and concerns with the mayor and council. Our role at this point is to listen to the comments and respond as appropriate after consultation with staff and each other. Now, is there anyone here this evening that would like to be heard? Let your fingernail Halloween stuff. Oh, you were gonna get up and talk? I was gonna comment on it. Anyone? Okay. So hearing no one, that will conclude the meeting. Our next meeting will be November 11th, and without objection, we are adjourned.